Hello, everybody. I'm Parsha Becky, and welcome back for another week of Parsha. As I'm sure you recall, we are currently in the middle of reading the third book of Chumash, the book of Vayikra. Vayikra means he called. And for the whole book of Vayikra, hello? Hello, who's calling? It's Hashem calling. Hashem, who are you calling for? Hashem is calling for Moshe. I will pass the phone to Moshe and get back to teaching Parsha. So for the whole book of Vayikra, Hashem is calling Moshe to give instructions relating to the Mishkan that we just finished building at the end of the book of Shmot. This week, we read a double parsha because we try to get through the entire Torah in 1 year, starting on Simchat Torah and ending on Simchat Torah. But we have more parshas than we have weeks in the year. So some weeks we smush 2 parshas together to make a double parsha. This week is one of those weeks. So this week we read Parshat Tazria-Metzora, and we squish them together to make Tazria-Metzora. And we'll see they go together very well. So the parsha starts off, Tazria means when she gets pregnant, because it starts off by saying when a hypothetical woman gets pregnant and gives birth to her baby approximately 9 months later, if the baby is a boy, then after 7 days, on the 8th day, that baby is going to have a bris, a brit milah. That's review. That's stuff we already knew. But now the parsha adds new information. It says, if this baby boy is born, then for 33 days, the mother cannot go into the Mishkan. And if she has a baby girl, then for 66 days, she can't go into the Mishkan. And at the end of that time, the 33 days for a boy or the 66 for a girl, at the end of that time, she's going to go to the Mishkan. She's going to bring a sheep and a bird. Or the parsha's like, hang on though, sheep are kind of expensive. And she's already taking care of a new baby. Like if she can't manage to afford that sheep, don't worry, we'll make it easy. Instead, she can just bring 2 birds if she can't afford a sheep. So she brings this gift of a sheep and a bird or 2 birds and gives that to Hashem. And then she can enter the Mishkan whenever she wants or needs. The parsha continues on a new topic about something called tzara'at, which is a sort of weird skin condition, a rash, but unlike most rashes, which are medical causes, this one is a message from Hashem. So normally if you have a weird rash, you show it to a doctor, show it to a dermatologist, get it looked at. Tzara'at, a doctor can't help with. You have to show it to the Kohen. So if you have a weird white rash that you think might be tzara'at, you show it to the Kohen. And the Kohen has a whole guidebook to describe different types of rashes and what is and is not tzara'at. And the Kohen will take a look at it. Either the Kohen will say, that's not tzara'at, go see a doctor. Or the Kohen will be like, yep, you got tzara'at, my friend. Or the Kohen will be like, you know what, I'm not sure. If the Kohen says, I'm not sure, you have to self-isolate for 7 days, and then you'll check again. And if you're still not sure, another 7 days, and check again. If it has not spread after those 7 days and it's gone, and the Kohen's like, well, maybe you had it before, but now you don't, you wash your clothes and you don't have tzara'at. But if it's gotten bigger, you have tzara'at. So the parsha says if somebody is told they have tzara'at, they have to tear a bit of their clothes and they have to quarantine. And they're going to quarantine until the tzara'at is gone, at which point we're going to have to wait and find out what happens. But then the parsha's like, but guess what? Tzara'at doesn't just come on people's skin, because like you thought this was a regular skin condition. Oh no, you are way off, because tzara'at can also happen on clothing. What? So if you get a weird mark on your clothes and you're like, I didn't spill food there, I don't have a reason to get a stain on my clothes, then show your clothes to the Kohen to tell you if it's tzara'at. Either the Kohen will be like, that's not tzara'at, just go to a laundromat, or the Kohen will say, you've got tzara'at on your clothing, my friend. Or the Kohen will be like, I'm not sure. Let's isolate that clothing, keep it apart from everything else for 7 days, and then we'll check again. If after those 7 days, the mark of tzara'at has spread on it, you have to burn the clothes. You'll get new clothes. If it has not spread, but it's still there, you wash the clothes, and you isolate them for another 7 days, and you check again. If after those 7 days, the mark is still there, same as before, you have to burn the clothes. You'll replace them. If it has faded, but it's still kind of there, you tear off the bit with the tzara'at on it, and you are going to wait another 7 days. If it comes back, burn the clothes. If, however, after you've waited your 7 days, the mark of the tzara'at has gone from the clothes, You wash the clothes, and then they don't have tzara'at anymore. You can wear them whenever you want. That's where Tazria ends. We continue with Parshat Metzora. Metzora means a person with tzara'at. So you can already tell from the name that it's totally connected to the one that came before. It's a good match for squishing together in 1 week. So Metzora starts off by saying, let's say there's a person with tzara'at, a Metzora, whose tzara'at disappears. The tzara'at is gone. Their quarantine is ended, right? Not so simple. Here's what they have to do. The person who had tzara'at, whose tzara'at is now gone, they bring 2 birds and a piece of cedar wood and a red string and some specific leaves to the Mishkan. One of the birds is given as a korban to Hashem, and the other bird, the cedar wood, the red string, and the leaves are dunked into the blood from the first bird, and then the Kohen uses them to flick the blood onto the person whose tzara'at went away 7 times. And then you set the alive bird free, it can fly away. And then the person who had and now no longer has tzara'at, they're going to wash all their clothes. They're going to shave off all the hair from their body. They're going to take a bath, and then they're going to self-isolate for another 7 days. And at the end of those 7 days, they are going to shave all their hair again, because even after 7 days, hair starts to grow back. They're going to shave it all off. They're going to wash their clothes. They're going to take another bath, and then the next day, day number 8, they're going to bring 3 sheep and some flour and some oil to the Mishkan. Torah's like, hang on though. Sheep are expensive. 3 whole sheep, that costs so much. Like, that's not fair. Don't worry, the Parsha says. If you can't afford the 3 sheep, you can bring 1 sheep and 2 birds and the flour and the oil. And the Kohen will give the animals to Hashem. And the Kohen takes some of the oil and dabs it on the person's right ear, on the ridge of their right ear, and on their right thumb, and on their right big toe. And they pour some oil on the person's head. And then that person no longer has tzara'at. They can go back home. They can stop self-isolating. They can go into the Mishkan whenever they want or need. And that is that. But it gets crazier. Because then the Torah says, guess what? Tzara'at doesn't just happen on people's bodies or people's clothes. Tzara'at can also happen on a house. What? You can get tzara'at on your house. So if you see a weird mark on the walls of your house and you're like, I didn't get a leak that would make water damage like that. I didn't have any kids scribbling on my walls when they shouldn't have. Why is there a weird mark on my wall? You have to show it to the Kohen. In order to show it to the Kohen, you first have to clear everything out of your house. All the furniture, all your stuff, everything that can be moved has to be moved out of the house. And then the Kohen takes a look at the mark on the wall. And then your house has to be closed up for 7 days. You can't go in, stay with friends, stay at a hotel. You can't live in your house. Anyone who eats or sleeps in that house during the time it's supposed to be closed cannot go into the Mishkan until they get washed off. After those 7 days, the Kohen will come and check again. If the mark of the tzara'at has spread, you have to pull out the rocks or bricks from the wall that have the tzara'at on it and discard them. You have to scrape down the inside of the house, scrape off all paint and wallpaper from the walls on the inside of your house, everywhere in the house. You put in new stones or bricks where you pulled them out so you don't have a big gaping hole in the wall. You can replaster, repaint, repaper the walls of your house. And then if it spreads, if it comes back after 7 days, you have to tear down the house. That's it, make a new house. But if it does not come back, then you bring the 2 birds, the red string, the cedar wood, and the leaves to the house. The Kohen will help you do the ritual to clear out all the tzara'at energy from the house. And then your house is clean. It no longer has tzara'at. You can live in it again. And that is that. Parsha ends with a reminder to keep your body 100% clean in order to go into the Mishkan. If you are sick in any way, if you have any symptoms of any sort of illness, or in any other way your body is not 100% clean, you cannot go into the Mishkan until those symptoms and all that has ended, until your body is clean. And then you have to wash your clothes and take a bath, and only then can you go into the Mishkan. That is the end of this week's Parsha of Tazria-Metzora. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and also a very happy Chag Atzmaut Sameach, a happy Yom HaAtzmaut, or if you're watching this after Yom HaAtzmaut, I hope you had a wonderful Yom HaAtzmaut.